Ladies and gentlemen, buffer zones, as you know, exist in war zones. They exist between enemy nations. Anyone crossing the buffer zone is identified as a foe and shot dead. Now imagine that in India, a state in India, two communities have such distrust of each other that there is a buffer zone between them. And if anyone, by mistake, enters that zone, he or she is beaten to death. This is where Manipur stands right now. A state on slow burn where no one is spared. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you the picture of a man. The man on your screens is an ex-Indian Army soldier, an ex-Fauji. Havaldar Mate, a resident of Imphal, left his home for some hardware shopping last evening. This morning, his body was recovered from the quote-unquote buffer zone between Kukis and Meitei settlements in the city. Turns out, he had by mistake ventured into this buffer zone and he had been beaten to death. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine this? One Indian beaten by a mob of Indians for entering a piece of land in India. Don't let anyone tell you for a moment that things are normal in Manipur. They are not by any stretch of imagination. This is the 7th death in Manipur in the last 7 days. This is the 236th death in the last 16 months in the state. Drones and missiles have made an entry into battle zone Manipur. There are military helicopters that are on surveillance. And escalation is imminent. There were major protests in Manipur today, this time by students demanding the resignation of the state DGP and the security advisor. The chief minister met them, but failed to convince them. So the students marched to the governor's house, en route clashing with police, who used tear gas shells and lathi charged them to disperse them. My colleague Priyank was there. This is the report he sent us earlier today.
The students have totally captured the roads which is leading towards the Raj Bhawan. We are standing outside the Raj Bhawan where the hundreds of students have come here. And what they are also doing that they are pushing back the forces. We have seen that the CRPF and the RAF vehicle which was attempting to clear this particular stretch of road. This is the main intersection of Imphal, right outside the Raj Bhawan's gate number 1. They have a call for a ban. Colleges and schools are not working. While talking about the demand, they have been demanding that the paramilitary forces should go back. They have also demanded that DGP should resign because for the forces, what they're saying that forces are mute spectators. That's why they should go back to the respective area. Let's talk to a few of the students. You have come here. What is the reason why it was necessary for the students finally to come on the road?
It's because of the war during now Kuki and the Meitei. It's not between the Kuki and Meitei. It's between other country and Indian. Manipur is a part of India, but it has been attacked by drone bombing. We have already seen, but the central government did not see. Why? Still, they are silent. Why they are still silent?
Students are very much agitated, and what they are saying that this is a war which is not in between two ethnic communities. This is a war which is happening and which is also being fueled from the other side. Yesterday, when the chief minister came here and he gave a memorandum, one of the major point which he had also raised that there should be fencing on the Indo-Myanmar border because the time and again the militants who are pushed back by the armed forces there in Myanmar enter here and they create nuisance. That's why right outside the Raj Bhawan and the CM's house you can see hundreds and thousands of students who have gathered here.
Chief Minister Biren Singh, under whose watch more than 200 people have been killed in this ethnic clash, which is 16 months old, now is shifting the blame of his failures to how the security apparatus is structured in the state. He has met the governor twice in the last 24 hours, seeking full control of the unified command that coordinates between central and state forces. Currently, it is being headed by a former DG of the CRPF who has been deputed by the center. Essentially, the CM is saying the guy cannot do anything, he doesn't have any domain knowledge, so give me full control and I will quell this violence. Ladies and gentlemen, these are interesting statements from someone whose son-in-law is on record to say that the center should remove the army from Manipur as they are mute spectators. It's also interesting in the context that the Manipur police, the force that the state does control, had abandoned two women to a mob that stripped and paraded them naked and then gang raped them 16 months ago. So you want the army to go, and you think that a Manipur police that completely failed 16 months ago will do the job now. The Chief Minister also wants the truce pact with tribal militant groups to be annulled so that there can be targeted action against them. As protests continue, the Congress led by Priyanka Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge have targeted the Prime Minister, blaming him, saying that his failure in the state is simply unforgivable. Let me go to my guest this evening. YJ Singh is a former Deputy Chief Minister of Manipur. He's also a former DGP of the state, so someone who is well placed to speak to us about the current escalation in violence in the state of Manipur. P.K. Mishra is a former ADG of the BSF. Pratim Ranjan Bose is a senior journalist and a columnist. And Dr. Hoykip is someone who has been with us for the last 16 months, trying to explain to us why we are seeing what we are seeing in Manipur. He is joining us on the broadcast as well. Thank you very much, Professor, for being with us. Of course, I'm going to start with our guest who is joining us from Imphal. YJ Singh, can I start by asking you, you are coming live to us from a city which is under virtual lockdown. There is a curfew there. Schools and colleges are shut today. They will be shut tomorrow as well. There have been massive protests in the state. Can I ask you for your view on why there is an escalation in the last 7 days? What has happened?
Well, ma'am, this thing, you must understand that it is in these last 7 days that attack by drone, attack by missiles have taken place. Then that targeted people, of course, in the first place, was some of the so-called village, these things. In fact, the casualties have been all civilians. Now, what people of Manipur are perceiving is that in this sort of scenario, no one is safe. You know, even I said I'm sitting in my house. My house is not also safe. The missile which hit the ex-chief minister's house at Moirang, I'm almost at the same distance like that. So even my house is not safe. The house of the Raj Bhawan and the CM's bungalow, these are also considered not safe. But now there has been, the IGP intelligence of Manipur police have stated that ADS, that means anti-drone system, have been placed and they have taken all sort of precautions. The question is, that's not the answer. Anti-drone system, what will it do? I mean, at the most it can shoot it down, or it can jam the drone. But then jamming also, the distance and the frequency, etc. There are lots of complications. But the perception is that, but that is not that is the sort of thing which cannot be done against the missiles. In that case, no one seems to be safe. So in this case, people are asking what has been done. Now, unfortunately, my colleagues, I mean the DGP and the security advisor have been, in particular, been targeted. It's unfortunate that the perception here in the by the people is that they have just been mere spectators. They have not done anything at all. So that sort of things, and the people are really coming to a state where enough is enough. There has to be something has to be done. Now that expectation is not being fulfilled. So that is a problem. What I feel is that
Sir,
the problem
the fact
is now, because
can I just interrupt you for a moment here? Because I'm seeing shots.
Yes.
Sir, give me a minute here. Because there are again protests in Manipur. You're saying no one is feeling safe in Manipur, in the state of Manipur. The fact is, I'm seeing these women holding mashals out on the streets, protesting once again. It has been a day of protests in the afternoon by students. Now we are seeing protests by women. One understands the anger. One also understands in the last 16, I'm just going to get Pratim Ranjan Bose in as well. Pratim Ranjan Bose, one also understands the complete and abject failure of the Biren Singh government in controlling the situation. You say, okay, 1 month, things flared up, things were so tense, it was difficult to control, people died. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 10 months, 16 months. Things have only escalated. We are in a situation, Pratim Ranjan Bose, where missiles and drones have entered the arena.
Let us separate the issues.
If people are angry, there's good reason for people to be angry with the BJP.
No. Let us forget BJP. Whether BJP, the government is the issue, right? So let us separate issues, first of all. If we are talking about this ethnic strife, the last time they fought, it lasted 5 years. And the tribal nature is always, this territorial kind of stuff. So I'm separating that out. The issues this time, we all know that there was a basic failure at the start of this event, which I'm not getting back into that. And that failure, everyone has to take share. How this court has suddenly gave an order and without any preparations, etc. And this society divided. This is a nature. I'm reminding you that this is, if you go back to Arunachal, the Nishi conflict with Nishis, if you go to Naga Kuki conflict, which there was a time when the Naga Kuki conflict used to take place every year, and for 6 months, they used to remain under blockade. If you just go back and check the news archive, we will see. So we have to leave that out. What is crucial in this case, and also I would like to remind that the society is so divided that the voices you are hearing from Imphal, you are not hearing from Manipur, you are hearing from Meitei. I mean, this is unfortunate truth, but we have to live with that. So there is practically two-state situation over there. The drone is the newest thing in this whole element. And one can safely guess that it has come from Myanmar side because drones were being used in Myanmar. Now,
Correct.
if these things we have seen in Russia-Ukraine war, so if these things have gone to non-state actors, that opens a new frontier, which is way beyond the current context, that is the Meitei, Kuki or whatever context.
Okay.
It can go a long way in the region and otherwise. This is how I look at it. And I believe it has created a case where it would be the security forces. Please remember that the mistakes of the past is one issue, but they were not getting into acting upon because to avoid the collateral damage and to allow the situation to subside, and it subsided. It has just flared up in last 7 months, 7 days, and the reasons only security people can tell that why it happened. But one thing I know, a hell lot of geopolitics is going on in that area. That I know. I'm not getting into that.
Okay. Dr. Haukip, you're saying there are many elements at play. You're saying there are many elements at play. Yes, there's an ethnic clash at play. Yes, there are local insurgents who are at play. But there is trouble that is being pushed into India's way, pushed into Manipur from Myanmar. I agree with you. This is a complex situation. I'm not trying to simplify it. My only worry is, your argument seems to be that last time ethnic clashes broke out in Manipur, they lasted 5 years. In the last 16 months, 236 Indians are dead. That is a scary situation for any country. We are, Manipur has become a state where battle lines have been drawn between two communities. Jani dushman ban gaye ek dusre ke. That Meiteis cannot go into Kuki territory and Kukis cannot go into Meitei territory. Now we have, we have a prime minister who has a certain image, right? Ghar mein ghus ke marenge. There is a certain image that the prime minister carries, and yet under his watch, he has only sheltered a chief minister who has miserably failed, at least in my eyes. But Dr. Haukip, one of the solutions that the chief minister seems to be suggesting is that there is this 2008 truce with Kuki militants and insurgent groups. They are the ones who are fermenting trouble. Let us annul these truce pacts with them and let there be targeted action. Let there be surgical strikes against them. He's not using that word, I am. Do you think that's a solution?
Shreya, let me start by saying that we have discussed this Manipur issue since 4th of May last year, and I have suggested so many things. For instance, I suggested that there should be immediate president's rule. The center should rule the state for some time so that normalcy returns. And if that is not possible, at least remove the chief minister, right? That has never been done. So it's basically the mishandling of the central government about the affairs of the state. And if you talk about this a particular party, just to save the party in power in Manipur, why should we retain Biren as a chief minister for so long? There are other more than 30 BJP legislatures who would be fitted to the positions. That could have been done long ago. And this kind of division, this kind of radicalized youths would have been prevented within a week. And normalcy could return within a month, and people could live that normal life. But that did not happen, and we keep on blaming about how these drones have been weaponized in the last 1 week. But if you look back into the data and facts, you would see that for the last 6 months, since December 2023, uh, drones have been weaponized and used against one another. Why didn't we recognize that? Why only last week that we cried out in the media saying that there is a kind of drone attack? It has been used, and in the last 15 months, the two groups have been equipped to the latest technological weapons to the
True.
state that all these situations are expected unless the central takes over the state and try to rule within certain
Absolutely.
legal limits.
Absolutely. Will a country like China try and fish into troubled waters in India? Of course they will. This is something we in any case must be factoring in.
No, right
My
now,
point is, for 16 months you have left Manipur on slow burn. That is my problem. PK Mishra, give me a minute here. PK Mishra, you're a former ADG of the BSF. Now here's a chief minister who has failed for 16 months, right? Here is a chief minister who's been an abject failure. I don't even want to go into his multiple failures because we have discussed this way too many times in the last 16 months. Now his latest brainwave is कि मेरे पास unified command नहीं है. I don't have unified command. Unified command is with a guy who has been deputed by the center. उसको कुछ अता पता नहीं है. That person, doesn't have knowledge of the lay of the land. So essentially all forces operating in Manipur, which is the army, which is the Assam Rifles, which is the Manipur police, which is the central paramilitary forces, etc., all should be under my command. I want to ask you whether that will help or actually create a bigger situation.
Yeah. Yes, I can well tell you what you have asked. There is no chief. I am very sure. I just visited Chudachandpur also. I just visited Imphal also when Samit Patraji was there. I have gone to the field personally. I have gone to Bishnupur also, the border, as you were mentioning, the border between two countries and two states, that is Meitei state and Kuki state, that is Bishnupur and Moirang, where this RPG was fired, this fired on Koireng's residence. I visited that area. I am telling you, the chief minister is not existing in the state. There is a chief minister, he cannot go to Jeribam. There is a chief minister who cannot go to Sigma. There is a chief minister who cannot go to Chudachandpur. Then why he is existing? What for? And he just told that within 6 months he will bring peace. Is this the way he is bringing peace? By the way, forget about the chief minister. There is one security advisor. He is security advisor to the state government. By the way, has he seen the state? Has he gone? Does he know what is Henglip? Does he know what is Bihang? Does he know what is Singhat? Does he know what is Sangai Court? He has no idea of the terrain. The problem is the unified command and the counter-insurgency forces, they have failed miserably. And you see, it is Russia-Ukraine war is going on. You have got drones and you have got RPGs. You have got MK-16 rifles. You have got, rocket-propelled gun is firing missiles, and target is not Mr. Koireng's residence, it's also the INA Museum. It's height of stones is what is all happening in the
Correct.
state. And just see, 236 killing. And you see the killing of this poor ex-military person. You see, he cannot go from one zone to the other zone. Something surprising, I'm telling you. Of course,
Imagine
I visited
that.
Chudachandpur, which some
Imagine
Meitei
that.
group I could manipulate
Mr.
to
Mishra,
go.
imagine that.
But I'm telling you,
Imagine that.
Yes.
Mr. Mishra, what you are
Yes.
telling me is shocking.
Of course, they didn't
What you're
know.
telling me is shocking.
They didn't know I'm
Because
ex-BSF who
imagine
visited,
this,
but,
someone in your
however, I could
family.
penetrate. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just give me a moment here. I mean, just imagine, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen,
very
your
sure,
father
but
one
I'm
day.
just telling you.
One minute, Mr. Mishra.
What is?
One minute, just give me a
Yeah.
moment here, just for our viewers, and I want to bring YK
Can
Singh
I
back into
continue?
this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, just think to yourself for a 1 minute, sir. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute,
Yeah.
Mr. Mishra. Ladies and gentlemen, just imagine this. I know we are all sitting, reporting, talking from various parts of India, and Manipur is very far off. शायद हमें से ज़्यादातर लोग मणिपुर गए भी नहीं हैं और मणिपुर में क्या होता है we don't even know till a story like this erupts. But YJ Singh, imagine, I'm just thinking to myself, imagine if this was some other part of this country where your father steps out and says, I need to go buy some hardware, leaves his home in the evening, he's an ex-Fauji, he leaves his home in the evening, he doesn't return, you search for him through the night, next morning, he's found dead in a quote-unquote buffer zone. In one country, in one state, two groups are so bloodthirsty that a Kuki cannot enter Meitei land, Meiteis cannot enter Kuki land. Galti se if someone crosses that buffer zone, you're simply beaten to death. I want you, Mr. YJ Singh, to tell our viewers who are watching from across India just what it is like to be living in Imphal and Manipur right now.
Well, ma'am, and as far as the situation is concerned, it is not as bad as you have described. Say Imphal is quite as far as the Imphal area is quite safe in the sense that for day-to-day going around and all this thing is concerned. Chudachandpur, by on its own unit, you're saying about purchase of hardware, etc., there will not be any problem. Yes, of course, there are certain so-called, not buffer zone, yes. It is not like, as you have described, and the PK also has described, like this two states, etc. It's not like that. There are Nagas also. Kukis are also there at some places. Now, these are other things. Now, again, I would like to say a few words on behalf of the DGP and the security advisor. Yes, PK has said, and the PK was also with me in the BSF when I was in the BSF also, and I know him also. He had served this part of Manipur. But one thing is that knowing the terrain and the working out strategy is quite different. As far as that terrain, etc. is concerned, there are enough number of officers under the command of the DGP and the security advisor who can tell them what is where and all these things. Now the question is there a will? Is there a seriousness of tackling this situation? I have seen a number of officers from the BSF, from the CRPF, from the Assam Rifles, from the Army, etc. When I question them, interact with them, why they are not reacting, they say that upar se adesh nahi hai. I don't understand. Which means, now another thing is, there's lots of confusion in Manipur. We are talking about unified command. Unified command is with Kuldeep. Now question is, there's no clarity whether Article 355 is in force in Manipur or not. I myself had asked the previous governor when I called on her, whether asking whether Article 355 is there or not. She clear-cutly told me that Article 355 is not Manipur mein lagu nahi hai, which means the Chief Minister is the supreme authority as far as law and order is concerned. Now all of a sudden these things are coming up that abhi ye chahiye, wo chahiye. The question is whether giving, say, unified command. Whether the problem will be sorted out or not, I have my own reservation on that. The way things have been handled, it has not been handled in the manner it should have been handled. It has been allowed to drip.
Correct.
That's a...
Yeah.
It has been allowed to drip. Now, this thing, I'll say on this, just give me a minute. I'll say that the problem cannot be sorted out. See, there is no question of all the cookies being, annihilated, all the Meiteis being annihilated. That's not the solution. The solution is bringing peace. How can we bring the peace? It has to be both the Meiteis and the Kukis. They are the ones who have sit down together and bring about the peace. Now, there are certain obstacles in this. I think Kukis are saying that they will have no talk till Biren is removed. Now, if that is a very,
you know what? Here's what I think.
A stain which cannot be changed, then why?
Here's what I think. If Russia is looking at India and Prime Minister Modi, give me a minute here. I'm out of time, but my own view is this. If Russia is looking at India and Prime Minister Modi to bring truce between Ukraine and Russia, which have been at war for more than a year, I see no reason why the Prime Minister of our country cannot bring the Kukis and the Meiteis to the talking table. I see no reason at all. Has it been tried? Has it been done? We don't know. It's certainly not been done, but has it been tried? We don't know. And that is what the Prime Minister of this country needs to look at. Forget, all this political drama about Prime Minister ek bhi baar Manipur nahi gaye. Nahi gaye, jana chahiye tha, yes, nahi gaye, nahi gaye. They had to pay for it in the elections. But the fact is that Prime Minister Modi is the Prime Minister of this country. And if Manipur has to see light at the end of a very, very dark tunnel, which has already killed 236 people, then the Prime Minister has to intervene and get the Kukis and Meiteis together on the talking table. They cannot ignore his call, that much I know. We'll leave it there for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we see these protests that are coming to us live from Imphal. YK Singh, thank you very much for joining us. PK Mishra, thank you. Pratim, good to have you on the show. And Dr. Hauke, thank you very much.